Okay, well that doesn't.
You say the price of exposure just isn't enough to get paid. You cry in the bathroom when I say your mid-rolls make viewers say bye. Why so sad? You aren't even locked in a contract unless it helps me. Now you're making me mad. I may have misnamed all your videos, but that's your bad. You'll be back, soon you'll see, 'cause your videos belong to me. We have rules, don't you read? We'll enforce them arbitrarily. We will rise, you will fall. No other producer matters at all. And when push comes to shove, remember I own Nostalgia Critic. It does not belong to Doug. Da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 da. And if you think that we have done something wrong, we sincerely regret you feel that way so long. And friends, don't change the channel, 'cause we're an awesome channel. My sweet, submissive channel. You'll be fans of this channel forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. We use Skype, not email. It's your own fault if you miss details. You'll get canned after surgery. Oh, did we mention our misogyny? Maybe yes, maybe no. You might never know if you're let go. Well, that's it. Guess I'm done. If you need to reach me, please don't, 'cause I'm busy playing Xbox One. Da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 da. Call of Duty. Da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da.
Holy fuck. Okay. so something happened on my end. My internet decided to go poo poo. Yeah. So, yeah. So I thought I had been streaming for about 30 minutes, but then it turned out that the stream I had just done ended at a minute 37. I did not do this on purpose. I thought I was still streaming, but because Streamlabs is telling me so. But yeah, it turns out my internet just crapped the bed. So so yeah, that's why this is I'm doing this again. But Okay, I'm looking at the chat now. Man, the first attempt of the stream was so good, it barely lasted 2 minutes. Yeah. Was your internet Spectrum? Yeah, I believe I have Spectrum internet, so that's probably why it went out. But yeah, that's a thing that happened. I am very sorry that happened, especially since this means I have to reread all the stuff I had just read. But anyway, I guess I'll catch up to speed. So for those of you who've been watching my streams from the beginning, which, first of all, if you have, thank you very much. I'm greatly appreciative of that. But if you've been watching them from the beginning, you know that I've been reading the Not So Awesome document. Now, the Not So Awesome document, for those of you who don't know, was created by a bunch of former content creators from Channel Awesome, who left over various reasons, most of them being poor management, misogyny, lack of communication, basic things not being facilitated, shit like that. I've already gone through most of the documents, and right now I'm going to be wrapping up the reading of it with with a few more sections. So the first one we're going to be looking at is from Lindsay Ellis, aka the Nostalgia Chick. Let me go back to not that one. Sorry. Okay, here we go. The document. So Lindsay Ellis used to be the Nostalgia Chick, and just to give a brief history, Doug Walker was asked to do a bunch of girly content for the Nostalgia Critic, but he didn't grow up with that kind of stuff. So he held a contest for a Nostalgia Chick. There were 3 finalists: Lindsay Ellis, Mars Girl, and that chick with the goggles. And all 3 of them got to have a spot on the site, but Lindsay Ellis ultimately got the role of the Nostalgia Chick. So, now she's definitely gone on to much bigger things. Her videos, she does tons of video, thousands if not millions of views. She's a Hugo Award winner. She's written a couple books. Granted, she does like to pal around with some ultra feminists like Anita Sarkeesian and ContraPoints, but what you gonna do? Anyway, let me just check, make sure the stream is good. Okay, everything seems to be in order. It says the stream is healthy, so let's go ahead. Oh, and also, real quick, I've got the Streamlabs link at the top of the chat. If you guys feel up to it, you're more than welcome to donate to the stream. You obviously don't have to do it, but I would greatly appreciate it if you did. And I'm also setting a bit of a stream goal. For every $5 I get donated, I will take a shot, just to make things much more entertaining for you and much more miserable for me. Because the drunker I get, the harder it is for me to read. So, without further ado, let us get started. So, Lindsay Ellis, Nostalgia Chick. I left years ago, and the mismanagement of Channel Awesome doesn't really haunt my every waking moment, nor did it ever. Still, I see people putting words in my mouth, so I want to get some things on the record. To me, this is not about defamation or destroying them, but about clearing the air and correcting misconceptions. First of all, I do feel like the way management approached the anniversaries from the get-go was inappropriate in a way that was never rectified. I was in my 3rd semester at USC when the 2nd anniversary happened, and the first real moment of concern came at the hotel in Reno on the set, in quotes, of Kick-Ass-io. When Doug was explaining the schedule, and I asked a logistical question, namely, what his plan was for craft services. Doug actually laughed at me like I was some princess expecting special treatment. Noah Antweiler, who was also there, explained that craft services is generally a given in any shoot, even student films. Only then was the suggestion taken seriously. So, basically the logic is, if a woman tells you to do something, you ignore it, but if a man tells you to do it, then yeah, sure, go right ahead. Misogyny at its finest, folks. Check the stream lot. Okay, stream is healthy. Okay, just making sure. The audio balancing is Okay. Anyway, let's get back to the document. Oh, that. Here we go. Okay. This was a set with more than 30 people, and they did not have food or water until they were told to do so. To my memory, they didn't get around to it until day 2. To be clear, inexperience was not the issue, arrogance was. Everyone who gets into film has a learning curve, but Doug and company barged in like they had nothing to learn, and this resulted in a variety of issues, from not bothering to secure permits or even learn shooting location hours on suburban nights, or to multiple injuries on the set of To Boldly Flee. They never secured production insurance. Ed Glaser and I had to step in to help during the suburban night shoot, which had next to no planning. They never hired stunt people. The whole experience was unprofessional and irresponsible. As for legality, I'm not positive, but this wasn't illegal, so much as grossly unprofessional, given how much money was involved. This would have broken the rules of every guild on Earth, but this wasn't a union set, so what are you going to do? The worst aspect of this, for my part, was the fact that when I tried to give advice or make suggestions, it was met with disdain. This was not limited to Mashad and the Walkers. There was definitely an atmosphere that viewed any sort of experience or knowledge of how film sets work as a sort of elitism, in a perverse way, an anti-intellectual streak. So, basically, if you actually knew what you were doing, you were hated. I mean, yeah, that's certainly a great way to boost morale, rather than, giving a lot more work to the people who actually know what they're doing. Just ridicule them and call them elitists. That makes perfect sense. Let me check the stream real quick. Okay, it says the stream is good. Streamlabs, everything is fine. Sorry, I'm just taking extra precautions to make sure that everything is running smoothly with the stream, because I don't want it to go down again mysteriously. This has got a good connection. Okay. The project I most regret was To Boldly Flee. I made my discomfort with Doug's expectations known before I set foot in Chicago, so this should come as a surprise to no one. As has been discussed elsewhere, my character's name, a parody of 7 of 9, was originally 60 of 9. Get it? Like 69? Excuse me. Doug didn't see why this might raise hackles. My biggest objection was the outfit I was expected to wear. I had no say on the fact that Doug wrote my character based on 7 of 9, and I had to dress like that character. The worst, of course, was the transformation scene, which was just an extended rape joke. Lewis and I talked about it between each other weeks before the shoot. Lewis actually reached out to me with his concerns, as I had not read the script yet, and explained our objections to Doug together. Doug's solution was, rather than rewrite it, have a toned-down version in the final cut, in which I make comical sexual assault noises instead of the original script as written. In effect, it was not changed, and it's still an extended rape joke, just perhaps less overt. So the solution here, rather than just cutting the scene altogether, was to take it and just tone it down a little bit. I mean, it's still there, but it's not that bad. I mean, it's basically just putting a band-aid on a bullet wound, honestly. And while we're here, Mashad expecting producers who were independent contractors to hand over their privately written and filmed crossover videos during the anniversaries to help recoup the costs of production while themselves getting no compensation was repugnant and exploitative. I regret not having pushed back more against this. During this time, there's also a streak of harassment against female contributors. The worst case that involved me resulted in an extended case with the NYPD. This is not the only incidence of harassment that went unremarked upon by Channel Awesome. There was a rash of harassment against Channel Awesome producers between 2013 and 2014, mostly women, which was never acknowledged or condemned by Channel Awesome. Alright, just making sure everything's good. Okay. The breaking point for me came much later. In late 2014, Channel Awesome brought on some new content producers, several of which I vouched for. One of these was Dan Olson. And thank God that my last stream went down, because I made the mistake of saying that Dan Olson was Owen Sisson, the guy behind Brows Held High, which might have been one of my dumber moments, but, thank God that doesn't exist. Anyway, In December of 2014, Dan did some investigative journalism work, which resulted in him becoming the target of organized harassment and conspiracy theorists. Dan posted an article on Medium about 8chan's willful complicity in child pornography. This resulted in an organized campaign to defame Dan Olson, declaring him a child pornographer for doing journalistic work about child pornography. The conspiracy theorists continue to this day. Yeah, that's sound logic. Hey, a guy is reporting on child porn. That means he's obviously into child porn, so let's defame him. Makes sense, right? This happened right before Christmas, on December 23rd, 2014. I was driving home to visit my family in Tennessee. I was about 2 hours from the Virginia-Tennessee border when I get a call from Mike Mashad, who was absolutely livid about something Dan Olson had done. Predictably, these organized harassment brigades started a campaign emailing Mike Mashad. Rather than seeing it for what it was, Mashad blamed the victim, of course. And instead of calling Dan to find out what happened, Mashad called me while I was in the car driving home to visit my family for Christmas. Because in Mashad's mind, I was apparently Dan's keeper for having vouched for him when Channel Austin was picking up new talent. Yeah, that makes sense. Rather than confronting the person themselves, you go behind that person and contact somebody close to them about the situation. Real top-notch management skills there, Mike. Real good stuff. Top tier. Anyway, let me just double check to make sure. Okay, everything's good. Just making sure the stream is live. Anyway, this is not the first time that one or several producers was being targeted by harassment campaigns, and Channel Awesome never stood up for anyone unless it was directly related to them being demonetized. #WTFU. They stood silent during the Gamergate. They stayed silent while many of their female contributors over the years were targeted by Gamergate. Their business model implies that it is more important for them to be uncontroversial than it is for them to stand behind their contributors who are being targeted. To be clear, Dan did nothing wrong, but was blamed by Mashad, and by extension so was I, for attracting controversy from people who were somehow threatened by outing websites that enable child pornographers. I led a few days later as to Kyle Colgren and Dan Olson. You know what? Good for her for doing that, because, that is really... same tool about Lindsay Ellis, but that is some pretty shitty behavior on Channel Awesome's part. So, I'm glad that she left. Fuck those guys. She and the others definitely deserve much better than that. Sorry, I'm just checking Discord real quick just to see what all is going on. Sorry, just kind of checking a few things out here on Discord, though I should probably get back to the reading. Okay, so, alright, so these are the two anonymous contributors. So the first one, the following story is from an anonymous contributor we are calling Jane Doe, recounting the story of a former producer who had sexually abused her and claims the management was aware of said producer's deviancy for a year and did nothing. Pieces of information, including names, are removed for the sake of privacy. Jane Doe has given us permission to share the story, but not her name. At least 2 other victims have come forward regarding this person, but whether management knew about them is unknown. The chat is copied verbatim with the victim's permission. Jane Doe. Hi, I'm one of his victims. I have nothing but hate for him. It makes me mad at all of you, even though I know you don't deserve it. It's why I left. Yeah, he groomed me. And on one. I think at first we need to come to terms with the fact that a lot of people in this chat legit did not know. Jane Doe. That's something I need to come to terms with. I burned so many bridges with you because I was so angry. So I'll tell my facts, but I want to leave out anyone else who doesn't need this shit. And on 2. To me, the most damning part is that folks knew and had a chance to cut off his access to fans early and did not. Jane Doe. I don't know. I'm sure I'm part of it. I could have been louder. I'm no angel. Anyway, you all knew me back then. Physically, I was 18, but had the mind of a 16-year-old at best. He groomed me, convinced me to take my clothes off for him, told me he wanted to teach me how to kiss, fuck, etc. Made it seem like it was teaching someone how to read. Anyway, I genuinely thought he was being an impassionate teacher. I came forward as best I can. Yeah, it wasn't until I read a pamphlet on trial grooming techniques I went, holy shit, that was me. Yeah, that's the damning part. Since he didn't hurt me, I wonder how much of it was him genuinely thinking he was helping me come into my sexuality. But I am really done with all of this. Sorry, I obviously I don't want to make fun of them too much for the spelling errors, but it's just something. I'm a different person in a different world, and I really can't drudge it all back and remain mentally healthy. This is about as brave as I get. I was so mad at all of you. I'm glad some of my anger was misplaced. I'm sorry I burned so many bridges. I was just so angry. Yeah, part of the reason I couldn't say much was because grooming isn't illegal. I mean, is it? Because, I don't know, I thought grooming was illegal. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it is legal, which, if it is, then, what the fuck is up with our justice system, honestly? Anyway. And I can't say he raped me, so there wasn't anything to tell. Yeah, seriously. Like I said, when I read a pamphlet on child predator techniques, I was like, what OMG, that was him and me. And on 2. Jane, if you want to say anything else, do you recall how long it was after you came forward to channel Awesome Management that he was finally let go? Jane Doe. It's kind of hazy, but I'd say maybe a year. And on 2. Something like a year between them first finding out he was sexually grooming female members of the channel's fan community to them doing anything about it. Jane Doe. Yeah, that didn't really help me feel any more heard, lol. I have to say, this is very therapeutic, and I'm sorry for all the times I lashed out at you all. You didn't deserve it, and I took my anger out on you. So that was a fun story. Yeah. What better way to spend a Friday night than reading a story about child grooming? Good stuff. Anyway, Anonymous 2. So this one is still pretty shitty, but it's not as, awful as the last one. So this one should be a bit easier to digest. But, yeah, let me first check the stream health. Okay, it says the stream is going well. Just double checking. Alright. So how's everyone doing tonight? I see... never mind. I hope you guys are all having a good night. I know it's a bit late, and I'm sorry that, what happened, but I'm trying to make the most of it, so... Alright, let's get going. Anonymous 2. Oh, hang on, let me go back. I just realized I'm not zoomed in. There we go. Okay, so now you should be able to read it a bit better. Actually, let me zoom in a bit more so that you guys can see this better. Okay, maybe just one more time. Okay, I think that's as far as it'll go. Alright, so, Anonymous 2. I started off making fan art of Channel Awesome. All the video creators of the site were inspirational to me, and I wanted to provide some artistic input for them. For a while, I felt like I was part of the community, and a lot of the creators became closer to me as a result, and I've gained a lot of friends because of it. I started to become hired to create title cards for many of the content. I almost became overworked because of the sheer amount of commissions. This is on me, not on any of the content creators. It was fun, and I even decided to try my hand at some of my own content. I was working full-time as an animator. From time to time, I was on hiatus, and I would have more free time to create content. I decided to create a show based on video games with my own writing flair, and I never honestly expected to become a part of Channel Awesome until Holly brought me on board, whom I later found out I was the last one to be brought aboard before she was cut from the site altogether. So I owe her a lot of credit for me even being a part of it as a content creator. At the time, they were looking for content for their Blistered Thumbs website, which sort of became an afterthought. I didn't think there was a lot of attention given to the videos posted there, and I honestly think the site was overrun by almost too much content, to the point where quantity mattered more than quality. Not that my work was quality, but I put as much effort in my show as I was able. It almost felt like it wasn't worth the effort. Maker, aka Blip, was dying. Blistered Thumbs got no attention. And by the time they made the redesign, months and months they promised spotlights to other creators outside of the main big ones. I believe Atop the Fourth Wall was featured for all of those months. I decided to leave on my own account, and that's when the drama began to come about. So let's read about that drama. I mainly tried to avoid a lot of it, but it really depressed me to see how much Doug and Mike had truly seemed like they didn't care about anyone else on the site. I didn't honestly expect them to give a lot of focus to others outside themselves. They had their own shows to worry about, but to make so many promises and then just cut everyone off in an instant seemed like they were just dooming themselves. But they seemed to have survived and focused on a lot of nonsense that, in the long run, looks pretty bad from an outsider's point of view. I think the biggest issue I had was how easily they used their fan base. I was making fan art for free out of my own free will, but when they made contests, their prizes were pretty underwhelming, and I thought it was monumentally unfair to the artists involved, but that was my opinion. Again, I was but a speck among others involved, and I don't expect to make much of an impact. I was a fan at first, I had my profession, and I wanted to join in on the fun, and I guess I joined in at the wrong time. I am deeply saddened by the amount of hate and harm that a lot of the site has given its creators, who are offering their time and money and effort into helping someone else who, in my view, pretended to care about more than himself. As a business person, I can understand the position. On another, business practice is a thing to handle with care, and by kicking out the people who did do a good job with that seemed counterproductive. Ignoring warnings and making bad decisions just seemed to be going on nonstop. At any rate, that's just my 2 cents. I'd like to think I moved on from all this, especially since my expertise is in a field I am happy to have been in for the past decade. I still miss a lot of the wonderful people I got to meet face to face and talk to on a more personal and friendly manner. I wish them nothing but the best. Sometimes the only way to stop toxic behavior is to cut it from our lives entirely and not offer any help. And soon enough, I'm assuming this is supposed to be they will realize what they've done. Yeah, I think that's honestly the biggest takeaway from reading all of this, is just the fact that, like, the abuse, the negligence, the arrogance, and all that, that's one thing, but it just makes me sad knowing that, like, all these people donated, their time and effort into making all this great content, only to basically just get shit on by the higher ups. Like, it's honestly kind of depressing, just the thought that, like, you can put so much, effort into something only to just get massively shit on by everyone else. Like, it's kind of, like I said, it's kind of sad, and my heart goes out to a lot of these people. Like, they really deserve better than this. Like, without a doubt, they deserve so much better. Anyway, we should probably get back to the reading because I still have a bit more to go. So next up we've got Iron Liz, who I already described who she was in the earlier stream, but I'll say it again. Iron Liz was dating Linkara for a while. Linkara, of course, is the guy behind Atop the Fourth Wall. And she would make regular appearances in his videos from time to time, mostly participating in a lot of the story segments of his episodes. Whenever there'd be like a big arc going on, like some new villain was showing up to like threaten the world or whatever. She was alright. I mean, she wasn't like, like really funny or anything, but she had some good chemistry with Linkara, and I enjoyed whenever she showed up. She was just kind of there. So anyway, let's get started. I was a producer on the website briefly when I was dating Linkara, but I was also a production assistant for Suburban Nights. I got to see some of the shady behind-the-scenes stuff, as well as getting roped into actually being in the movie. As for the setup, the higher-ups of the website were flying everyone down to Chicago, but we lived in Minneapolis together. Let me just... Oh, whoops. Sorry about that. Linkara didn't have a vehicle and couldn't drive mine, so it was offered I drive down to Chicago to save Channel Awesome some money and assist with production. If there's two things I recall from the production, it was being cold and hungry, as well as the phrase, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. I was never paid, never reimbursed, and never even thanked for all the work I did. So here's a few highlights of Suburban Nights. This should be good. Alright, so almost immediately, the higher-ups, and by them, I mean mostly Rob and Mashad, realized they didn't have enough transportation. They rented 2 minivans to shuttle people around, but at first realized they need to do multiple trips to keep people from the hotel, to the Walker's house, to the parks, etc. At first, I was asked if people wouldn't mind riding with me, but as time went on, my vehicle got roped into being used for the film's production. I drove my vehicle around helping Holly getting an art supplies for costumes, picking up meals to feed the cast, and store props like the plastic prop swords when there wasn't enough space. Filming Suburban Nights was split into 2 groups. One group would be working the grueling long hours filming on site, usually from 6 a.m. to about 8 to 10 p.m., while the other group had the day off to rest, shoot crossovers, or do miscellaneous things on their off day. I had no off day. I worked every day. This went double when the entire group was shooting together, where I would also act as a runner of sorts. But from the get-go, it was clear I was not part of the talent. I remember I asked once if I could add a coffee to a breakfast order, and was told no because I wasn't talent. This didn't change either as production went on. When I was recruited to be Cloak 2, there were times where I would shoot scenes, like the battle scene, be called to transport something, and then be called back to shoot again. I remember one instance where I helped pick up Popeye's chicken for lunch, but was essentially told that I couldn't have any, despite filming at the time. I remember that entire day I ended up eating a single chicken leg and a spoonful of mashed potatoes the whole day of production. Yikes. That's not a good sign. Yeah, I'm just kind of checking around, just seeing what all is happening. Okay, just double checking. My bad. Let me know how the stream's going, guys. Let me know if the how the audio balancing is, if everything's good to go. All right, let's see. Speaking of being hungry, I think the very first day we filmed, near the end of the day, we were filming scenes at the house where all the laptop computers were on the walls. We were there from about 4:30 p.m. to about 8 p.m., and I remember being absolutely famished. We had spent the morning filming in the cold, there was no lunch, and we were all stuck doing scenes there, waiting to go to dinner. I remember wishing there was something to eat at that house, but there wasn't anything prepared. I also remember drinking lots of tap water. A lot of people were doing that, partially because we were all so thirsty, since it was the first time we got to drink anything since our time in the park, but also because we're so hungry and it filled your stomach. Filming at the parks was miserable. We got to the parks at about 6:15 a.m., but the main one was closed until about 8 a.m. We ended up essentially breaking into the parks to shoot, and I remember jokingly asking what we would do if a cop asked for our permits, and more or less told to shut up and don't ask. Shooting in those parks was very, very cold. It was hovering just below freezing in the morning when we got there to do the shoots. We would film for quite a long time out there, and there were no blankets, water, or snacks while shooting. I remember in particular how 8-Bit Mickey was dressed as Peter Pan and in tights with essentially nothing on his legs. He was constantly shivering. I remember Benzai too would run sprints back and forth to keep himself warm. Several of Doug's friends who played bit roles, the witch, the cat, etc., brought jackets with them, and I remembered running to grab them in between takes so Mickey could warm up. Elisa too, when she was on set, was often very cold. It was particularly frustrating because the talent was unable to leave, but if I wanted to go get food for them, I'd essentially have to pay out of pocket to help. Not that I could leave anyway in the event someone needed something, or if I had to run back to the van to get some props or something else they needed. The other thing I recall is the group photos. This one really stuck out with me. When they were taking production photos, I was not allowed to be in them, especially not the big ones. Holly was, but I was not. Again, I was not part of the talent. Later on, when the group was to sign photos they were to sell, I was the one that had to stuff them into envelopes and get everything in order. If I recall, there were about 500 of the photos, and I remember wondering if they'd even credit me in the movie after everything I did. This is before I was Cloak 2. When everything was said and done, I wasn't even invited to the wrap party. I believe the last day of shooting was on a Friday or a Saturday, sometime near the end of the week, and I made it to about 4:30 p.m. before I was so tired and hungry that I decided to throw in the towel. I finished up my filming and then ran to McDonald's, then went back to the hotel to sleep. I ended up sleeping through the wrap party, and no one even came by to wake me. I don't know if anyone even mentioned me, but neither the Walkers nor Mashad even ever gave me a thank you. And this is the big one. Let me make sure. Okay, it looks like the music might be a little too loud, so I'm gonna turn it down on my end because I can't hear that well right now. Okay, that should be fine. Okay, here we go. But the biggest issue was the injury. In the movie, where Orlando destroys the cloaks, Orlando did a side stomp on my knee where I'd fall to the ground and he'd finish me off. The only problem was he did it for real and stomped my knee in. Oh, God. Linkara held me back to the Walker's house, and no sooner had I got in there, I was given the "we're not liable for any injuries" form to sign by Rob. So, literally, she suffers an injury on set, is taken back to the Walker's house, and their response is not to go, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry that you got hurt. Did you need anything?" But instead to go, "Hey, would you mind signing this form so we're not liable for your injuries?" Like, wow, these are some really shitty people. Like, good God. I previously hadn't signed one because I wasn't Talon, and he gave it to me before he'd even give me any ice. I didn't want to sign it, but Rob laid the pressure on. I wasn't on the website yet, and I was hoping that showing them how hard I was working might help get me signed. Yes, stupid, I know. I also didn't want to sign it because it also essentially said I was signing over the performance, as limited as it was, to Channel Awesome, and I wasn't getting paid for it. I don't remember if I signed it or not. I vaguely recall that I did, but I do recall hobbling up the stairs to get ice for my knee. Fortunately, after about a week or two, it got better, but I did have a fist-sized, splotchy bruise after. Yikes. In the end, I came out no better for the experience. I got signed on about 4 to 6 months later, so it didn't much matter anyway, and I wasn't on the site for too long for it to matter. But there was one thing the site did that really got my goat. Alright, well, before we read that, let me just check the stream real quick, see how everything's going. First the chat. Alright, looks like the chat's pretty quiet. Okay. And it looks like I've been going for about almost 40 minutes. I should almost be done with the document, so let's just go ahead and power right through this. Okay, so the contract at the time stated there were 6 daily upload slots that you'd have to grab if you wanted to upload content. Eventually this went up to 7, but it was understood Doug had rights on the first 2 slots for posting content. This meant there was a mad scramble for slots, and you'd often need to reserve them way in advance. If I recall, the site required you to post either once a month or twice a month, and as a newbie, I was back of the line. I also started in the 4th quarter around the holidays. Doug was releasing content every single day, taking up more and more slots. I think he eventually got dibs on 3, and I remember panicking because I couldn't get a slot to put content up to stay active. When I complained, I was essentially told that Doug was the star and to be quiet. Then, when I couldn't get a slot to post content, I got a stern talking to by Rob. I think what makes me so sad about Channel Awesome was there was a lot of wasted opportunity. If they had really tried to grow the brand into a convention or live streaming or grow outside of media review and into more formal cinema, I think they could have seen far more financial success. They used to do live streams for charity and even try to get involved with the SOPA stuff, but that was few and far between when you stack it up against the shady business practices and how they treated people. I think the waste opportunity is just as bad as the abuse and labor violations. Yeah, exactly like I said before, like the stuff they did behind the scenes was bad, but the worst part of it all was they had so much talent to work with and they just did nothing but shit on them the entire time. It just made it difficult for all of them. Like, just what the hell? I held no ill will against anyone at the site and want everyone to be happy in their lives and in their work. But I think the way the company was managed and the arrogance of its leadership has ensured it will be dead in the next few years. At one time, too, I offered to submit a finance forecast for the company since I have a degree in applied economics, but was essentially told to mind my own business. After that, too, Rob stopped responding to me over Skype, so that wasn't good. I didn't really fight to stay, and I wasn't really motivated to either. But in any event, moving on was definitely the best thing I could have done for my personal happiness and for my career. If you ever want to get involved in film or reviews, Channel Awesome doesn't really have anything to offer you. Also, how it hasn't been the target of a class action lawsuit yet is beyond me. Okay, and we've got... how many pages are there left? Oh, we're almost done. Okay, so next up we've got Leslie Rice. Not quite sure who this is. Let me actually look the name up real quick. Let's see what we get. Leslie Rice. Okay. Oh, Terra Obscura. Okay, I've heard of this one. Okay, I don't believe I've actually seen this person's content, so I don't really have anything to say. But anyway, let's move on. So, upon joining, received multiple messages asking me for me to send material I had already submitted, stressing that I would not be placed on the site until I had sent it. Scheduled episodes being moved from the date they had initially been entered. Upon being locked out of Channel Awesome files, being told for several months that I would receive a new password before being told to just send my work on via Skype and then management would take it from there. After being told I would be removed from the site for failure to post 2 videos a month once, I missed a second deadline and awaited the worst. No contact was ever made by any member of the management team, and assuming that the situation would resolve itself, I went about posting my content elsewhere as usual. After half a year without contact of any sort, my content was finally removed. And now we get to the end. Fan document. In the interest of transparency, we have removed the link to the fan document. We would like all information we support to be verified. Due to the extra attention received, more stories are coming out and we don't have any way of verifying fan submissions. Because of this, we cannot in good conscience continue to link to a living document. Hang on just one second, I got a cough. Sorry about that. It's a really bad bug in my throat. Alright, and now we're on to the final segment, the conclusion. The above stories were written to the best of our personal knowledge and recollection. Our belief is that Channel Awesome CEO Mike Machad has not had the best interests of anyone but himself in mind and the management of the company, and that Doug and Rob Walker have also done little to show that they are concerned with the rest of the contributors that have been partnered with Channel Awesome. While in many instances, one or all three of these parties may have simply been complicit in many dealings, in other instances, they have been directly involved with our mismanagement and in some cases, egregious mistreatment. Our stories are many and varied from content creator to content creator, and yet many stories also mirror one another's experiences. We believe that by making these statements in regards to Channel Awesome, that we are largely doing something that we believe to be morally correct, and we hope that what you have read above has been beneficial in your decision to support any number of content creators. And above all else, we hope that you learn from our stories, and that you as a reader do not find yourself in situations similar to those that we have already experienced. It is not necessary for you to remain in a situation that makes you uncomfortable simply so you can produce entertainment or other kinds of media. We thank you for the time it has taken for you to read our stories, and we wish all of you well in your future endeavors. Oh boy. And that's the end. That's the final part of the document. It took me several streams to do it, but I read through the entirety of Not So Awesome. So I think after all these streams, what we can conclude is that Mike Bashad is a terrible person. Doug and Rob Walker are for the most part complete idiots, or just simply don't care about the stuff going on behind the scenes. And Channel Awesome is not as great as a lot of us may have hoped it was back in the day. I mean, I can say from experience that when I was like in late high school and early college, I, was a fan of Channel Awesome. I watched their stuff all the time. I fell in love with their content. And, honestly, I was even kind of inspired to do the whole film review thing because of guys like Doug Walker and Brad Jones and Noah Antweiler and all of them. So it was kind of devastating when I found out that all this really shady shit was going on behind the scenes. It made me take another look at, all the content that I've been watching for the past, however many years. And I can honestly never go back to that. Like, I do have some fond memories of the Nostalgia Critic, but, once I found out about all the stuff that was going on, and especially now having read through all of this, honestly, I don't think I could ever watch any of their content. Like, not even ironically, I can never do it. I would just feel super guilty for doing it. Like, you know what? I don't necessarily wish any ill will towards the people behind Channel Awesome, but I mean, this document was written 3 years ago, and at the time that I'm recording this, the site is like honestly on its last legs. Like, if you go to the site right now, I'm going to it. I'm actually going to check the site out right now for myself. Let's see. Let me pull it up on stream just so you guys can see it. So yeah, the site is still active, but yeah, it's not quite the same as it used to be. It's pretty blank. Like, there used to be a big banner ad up here, but that's gone. If you go through the slider here, all it is just Doug Walker, Brad Jones, Doug Walker, Brad Jones, Guru Larry, Doug Walker, Doug and Brad, more Doug. So yeah, Channel Awesome is just all Nostalgia Critic, and then Brad and Guru Larry, who Guru Larry, like, I know is only on the site because as a joke, but yeah, just the fact that, like, they used to have all these content creators, and now this is all they've got, just Doug Walker and Brad Jones and Guru Larry. Like, yeah, it's, and not only that, but like, there's no widgets here either. It's just, yeah, it's kind of sad just how far down the site has gone over the years. But anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this series that I've done on Channel Awesome, and just, all the stuff that went down on them. It's a very eye-opening experience, for sure. And for those of you who already knew about this, I hope you got some enjoyment out of it. And for those of you who maybe weren't entirely familiar with it, I hope you gained something from all this. I know there's only one person watching this right now, but you know what? I just want to say thank you, everybody who, watched the streams from the beginning. I know I didn't pull in very big numbers, but just the fact that anybody showed up to them at all really means a lot. It really does. I am super grateful that, anybody showed up to these streams. Like, it really, it means the world to me. I can only do so much to repay you guys. But anyway, I'm going for about 50 minutes. I don't really have much more to say, so I guess I'll just go ahead and wrap it up. So, as always, I've got the website, film-nerd.com. I post reviews fairly often, usually about 1 to 2 reviews a week. My most recent review, which actually just went up today, is my latest Full Moon Fridays review of Head of the Family. Probably one of the weirdest movies that Full Moon ever released. And then before that, I did the notorious box office bomb Howard the Duck, which I thought would be timely given that this year marks the 35th anniversary. So you can check that one out. Then I also did my review of the latest Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which honestly I quite enjoyed. I thought it was much better than Black Widow, which of course I did a video on if you want to check that out. And then the last Trauma Tuesdays review I did was for the horror comedy Redneck Zombies, which is dumb, but with a title like Redneck Zombies, I mean, you can't really expect high quality from this. And then before that was my previous Full Moon Fridays on the film Crash, which was fairly entertaining. You know, it had a lot of car crashes and some explosions, so it had that going for it. And then I also did the film Reminiscence, which to date actually is the most viewed review on my website. It's got like over 5,000 views. Although I have a feeling that might be a bug with the plugin I'm using, so I'm not sure how legit that is. But yeah, I've got the website up. I've also got a Patreon if you want to donate to that. I'm probably going to edit some of these tiers just to kind of lower the prices a bit, because I feel like asking for like $5 and $7 a month might be a little too much to ask. But you know, I've got some reward tiers, you know, early access to some of my reviews. You get certain roles in the Discord, access to different channels in the Discord. You get a spot on my website. You also get to request a review for me to do every month. Of course, I've got my YouTube channel. Let me actually go back to the regular scene real quick, and let me just pull it up really quick. Okay. Okay, got the YouTube channel, of course. I've got all my streams, my reviews, my unboxing videos, which I do hope to do another unboxing video pretty soon, as well as another regular movie review soon. Just not sure when I'll be doing it yet. But anyway, so that's going to do it for the stream tonight. I want to thank you guys for who tuned in. You know, thank you for spending your Friday night with me. Sorry that the original stream, you know, cut off so shortly. But you know, these things happen. You know, sometimes things shit the bed. So, yeah. And also, one final thing. I'm gonna be gone next week for a vacation. I should be back the following weekend, but yeah, unfortunately, there's not gonna be another Friday Nights of Film Nerd next week, but there will be another but there will be a Trauma Tuesdays review pretty soon. I don't know if I'll be able to get another video review out soon, but I'll try my best. But yeah, as always, I've got plenty of more reviews coming out pretty soon, and until the next one, I will catch you guys later, and take care.